Hey, RetroCleric324 here, and today I'm here to show you guys pretty much the rarest games I have on each console that you guys don't, and that most of these phony retro gaming collectors don't have as well. But they think they're so high and mighty. They think they're so elite, but they're really not, okay? They're really not. It's quite the joke. Really think about it. So yeah, today I just wanted to show you guys the rarest games that I own on each console, kind of tell you how much they're worth, and yeah, this is not to make anyone jealous. I know it will definitely make a lot of the gaming YouTubers jealous. It will definitely cause a lot of controversy in the media, but I am prepared for that. I'm here to take the risk. I think I'm strong enough to go through with it and all the hate. Just a short little disclaimer, I do not have a Neo Geo, so I will not be showing any rare Neo Geo games. If you guys harass me for that, I'm really not going to take that kindly, especially because I gave this little disclaimer. So please, in the comments, no saying, where's the Neo Geo? Where's the blah 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 blue, whatever console I don't have that is completely irrelevant, like the Ouya console. Who remember that? I do. I remember Game Explain and Phoenix Resale and IGN. They all shilled for that one. It was a complete flop. So yeah, pretty much, unless your name is Game Explain or Phoenix Resale or The Completionist or Retro Rick, I don't want you to be jealous. This is just to kind of show how a real collector goes about things and how collecting is meant to be, okay? So, with that being said, I also want to say I beat it, like, in true fashion for the type of breed that I am, gaming elitist, collecting elitist. I've beaten, start to finish, all of these games, whether I like them or not. Most of them I liked, obviously, or else I wouldn't own them. Unlike these phony YouTubers that just shill out $5,000 for Barbie on 3DS, or $500 for Color the Dinosaurs on NES. Fake gamers. They're not even real games. They're just wasting their money. They're children. They're complete children. Oh boy. Well, couldn't be me, of course. No one really can be me, but I'm glad that I've not fallen into the trap that most of these fake gamers on YouTube did. They're really corrupting the youth with their horrid opinions on games and collecting, but with that being said, I will start off with NES. So the NES does not have many rare games that are worth playing, but one that it does have that's really a good game is Gargoyle's Quest 2. But unfortunately for you guys, it's not on the Nintendo Switch Online, and the Wii U and 3DS eShop, which did have it, were shut down. Okay, so you're gonna have to pay like $250 for this game. You could emulate it like you could the rest of these games, but I would like to warn you before doing that, that's highly illegal, and Nintendo is really cracking down as they should with it. So, Gargoyle's Quest 2, it's a fun little platformer, Ghosts and Goblins spin-off, very difficult game. And yeah, $250 on the NES. So now for the Super NES, we have Harvest Moon. And this game is on the Nintendo Switch Online, so you guys should be able to play it on there if you have the means. If not, you're gonna have to pay $1,000 for a complete copy, or for a loose copy, I'm sorry, for a loose copy. It's really rare. But something I don't like about the Harvest Moon community, or actually not the Harvest Moon community, but the simulation gaming community, is that they often, oh boy, where to start? Well, they often say that Harvest Moon ripped off Pokemon and Stardew Valley and Nintendogs and Animal Crossing. That's the big one. They say it ripped off Animal Crossing too, and it didn't. They're complete idiots, okay? This game came out in 1997, right? Developed by Natsume, completely different developer, and pretty much it came out before all those games, so how could it be a ripoff? Fucking idiots. Idiots. These gaming media. Oh my gosh. You're so dumb. Stardew Valley was actually a ripoff of this game. Stardew Valley was inspired by Harvest Moon, which is not a bad thing at all. I'm not saying it's bad to get inspired by games, but know your facts, okay? Know your facts.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
This is not a ripoff, okay? This is an original and a classic, and you will deem it that. Idiots. Okay, so now for the Nintendo 64, we have quite... I don't know if this is really called a game. My rarest game on the Nintendo 64 would be Bomberman, The Second Attack, but this is actually my rarest piece of media for the Nintendo 64, and it's a little messed up right now because I took it out of the box. So it comes in a big box. It's called Mario no Photopea, and it's like a... pretty much, it's like a Photoshop thing. And yeah, it's pretty rare. It's like one of the rarest Mario games. It's not the rarest. I will be coming up to that shortly, but it is the rarest officially released Mario game. So, yeah, it's pretty rare. And the cool thing about it, unlike many other Nintendo 64 cartridges, is that it looks like this. Okay, it's a little different. Alright, you put your SD card right here. Okay, right there. And then you like lock it in, and then you can Photoshop, but it only works in Japanese on 64. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to get too far with it. I still beat the game technically, but I wasn't able to get fully utilize everything. Okay, and yeah, it also comes in a little box right here that I'll show you. That goes inside the big box, and that's where this casing goes in. So yeah, it's a pretty cool game. Not many of you own it, not many of you guys know it's real, obviously. But yeah, true Mario elitists like myself definitely do own it. There's no excuses really for not. If you have the certain status that myself has. But yeah, without further ado, you might have seen it. We're going to go to our GameCube game, and that is Cubivore, Survival of the Fittest. Pretty weird game, published and developed by Atlas. I forgot to say how much this is worth. I'm sorry, but this is worth $1,200. I'm sorry, I forgot. Where's my brain? So, developed and published by Atlas. This game will cost you around $700-800 on Nintendo GameCube. It was never released anywhere else, so you're going to really have to shell out that cash, which most of you, of course, probably cannot do. But I would recommend it. Perhaps it's a really good game, and yeah, it's a great Atlas game. Getting their start on the GameCube. Okay. So now for our next console, we have the Nintendo Wii, and this is pretty much like the digital deluxe edition, but it's called The Last Story. This was made by Nobu Uematsu, as you can see right here. This is the base game. And it's basically a Final Fantasy ripoff, but it's still really good. It has its own, has a lot of good stuff, and it has a little connection to the Xenoblade 2 franchise. If you really look into the lore and everything, because Jerome Arc's brother is actually in the game. He's a tiger, but they were brothers, and they were separated at birth. So yeah, you find that out throughout the game. Pretty cool, foreshadowing Jerome Arc and Xenoblade 2. But yeah, the base game will cost you about $160, $150, but the digital deluxe set, which I have right here, would cost you relatively, I'd have to say like, relatively $300, $400, I'd like to say. $304. Yeah, it's pretty good game though. Get the regular one for sure. Ugh. Come on, Peach, stop messing around. Get comfy, okay? She's so high maintenance, this girl. She's always up and down, up and down, up and down. And I know it's Absolute woke abomination, if you ask me. It's what happens when the West overtakes the East, and it's called Devil's Third. And it's sold like horseshit because it is horseshit, and pretty much it's just a bunch of like emo, edgy, woke, propaganda, pretty much. Very violent, very bad gameplay. I don't even know who made it, but it was published by Nintendo. And this game will cost you like $600, so don't get it, okay? If you are a true Nintendo elite, then maybe just to try it out, just to cover all your territory. But if you're just a regular fan, I don't know, okay? It's pretty trash. But of course, when it came out, all the reviews were like, oh, best game ever, oh, Nintendo is M for mature. I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it, I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want to see it. So that's going back in the trash where it belongs. Okay, so now, for a Nintendo Switch game, another thing I have a little gripe with. Peach, come on. Stop it, okay? Don't be shy, sit right here, okay? Peach and I have discussed this many times, and we really are not a big fan of limited run gaming. A couple of my other waifus agreed, of course. Like Yukari was one of the big ones that really did not like Yukari from Persona 3. She did not like limited run, but neither does Peach. But pretty much, I had to get this game, even though I don't agree with the company. But it is Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, and this game will cost you around like $200, $300, and pretty much it's a good throwback platformer to through Konami's Castlevania, but it's not always the best because it's really short. Okay, so I would say get it digitally. Just be aware that if you get it digitally, it doesn't truly count as you owning it, because they can take it away whenever they want, which I think is horrible. And obviously real collectors do not buy games digitally, but if you are a casual, just pay the $20 and play through it. It's not worth paying like $400 or $500 for this game, but it is a good game nonetheless, yeah? Alright, now for the Nintendo Game Boy. This is going to be the rarest game in my whole collection, actually, but to start, I have, because it was on release, of course, but to start, and I did foreshadow it back when we were talking about Mario no Photopea, but to start, we will go with Kid Dracula. So basically, any true Castlevania fan will have this game in their collection. It's a Mega Man Castlevania hybrid. Plays like Mega Man in the world of Castlevania, pretty much. Yes, pretty much. It's a pretty fun platformer, and it was also released on the NES, the Famicom, which I do own that copy as well. But yeah, that game will cost you about like $600-700 loose, so I would say don't get it. Unless, obviously, you're a Castlevania elite, then maybe get it, but I'd say give it the hard pass, okay? The hard pass for sure. So now, for the rarest game my entire collection, that not many of you guys know existed, and also the rarest Mario game that has existed, I got Super Mario Land 4. So, Super Mario Land 4 is a gaming prototype. It was actually a late release, or scheduled to be a late release, 2004, if my camera would focus there. I don't know why it won't focus. What the hell? Yeah, well, whatever. So now it says 2004, so basically this was a prototype. I paid like $200 for it, and yeah, it's an okay game. Obviously it's unfinished, so it's not the best, but you could use the wing cap, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, really, I can't put a price on this game. I paid like $200-300 on a bid back when I was like 6 years old, and on eBay. My grandma bought it for me. She paid like $200-300. Yeah, it was definitely worth it, because now, like, this is why gaming YouTube does not really know much about the collecting world, because this is like the most desired Nintendo game, downright. Nintendo World Champions Gold and Gray don't even scratch the surface of what this means, and I don't have those games, unfortunately. I am kind of ashamed, but I think this makes up for it and then some, because this is a Mario game that is one of one, no one ever had, and yeah, I couldn't put a price on it. I'd say I could probably get a nice car for this, though. Definitely a Lamborghini, a Mercedes, a Ferrari, a Porsche, something along the lines like that I could get for this little Game Boy cartridge. But obviously, as the Mario elitist that I am not selling it, okay? So if you guys tell me in the comments to go sell it and oh, these supercars are better, I'm not going to listen to you, okay? And you're going to get blocked, because it's not respectful. This is my choice to keep the game. I am the one that Destiny wanted to have it, so yeah, that's the way it's gonna be. Okay, so now we got Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color. This game will cost you about like $300 to $500. A little woke, because they did censor the blood in this game, so it's kind of woke for that, but I gotta say that it's still a pretty fun game, and it's a good transition for an 8-bit Resident Evil. Okay, now we got one of my least favorite games of all time, and that is because it took a note from Pokemon Go before there even was a Pokemon Go, and it forces you to go outside. Why do we need that? Okay, obviously not everyone does the best outside. I'm allergic to grass. I have horrible seasonal allergies, so it really is difficult for me to get going out there. Obviously this intrigued me to maybe go out there a bit, safely of course, because this is black tie, and if you can see up there, there's a solar sensor, so it makes you flip it up towards the sun so you could fire your ray gun, okay? But I wasn't a fan, because it really is inconvenient to make you go outside to play this, and I just cannot say it's worth it for that reason. If they added a patch or remake that lets you play it inside year-round, I would much rather like that, okay? Because for people who have horrible seasonal allergies like me, it's not fun to play this. So I haven't decided if I'm going to get the sequel yet, which is a little more rare, but this will cost you about like $200, okay? Now, for the Nintendo Virtual Boy, we have one of my most prized possessions, and that is Jack Brothers. Jack Brothers was released in 1995 for the Nintendo Virtual Boy, and it was developed by Atlas, published by Nintendo, of course, and it was the first SMP game in the West, okay? It's funny that Jack Bros and Persona actually came way before Shin Megami Tensei here in the West. So I'm really happy to own this. Unfortunately, though, it did undershadow Jack Frost and what he stands for, what he does for the Persona as Shin Megami Tensei, the Megaton. How did I forget? How did I not say it? I sound like a total noob saying Persona first. The Megaton franchise. Jack Rose took the baby steps that Megaton needed to run. This will cost you about $1,200. It's a pretty rare game, pretty fun game though, so if you do consider yourself a Megaton Elite, you kind of need this in your collection in order to truly hold that title. Yeah, it's a pretty good game, okay? So now for, oh, this is a good one. Wait, well actually before that, we're gonna go to this one, because this was actually on Nintendo. It's a little miscellaneous, but it was on a Nintendo console. Kind of. That was Americanized, so it was horrible. I'm sure you guys would all know it. Pardon me. I'm sure you guys would all know it. Perhaps it's It's from YouTube poop.
Nice
You
of the
definitely
princess to invite us over for a picnic, eh, Luigi?
Spaghetti.
I hope she made lots of spaghetti.
It gets me every time. And Mama Luigi, Mama Luigi.
It's Mama Luigi!
It's classic. It really is. And then you definitely hear bombs. That was on the Zelda ones, of course, which I don't own, unfortunately. I will be getting those eventually. But yeah, this is Hotel Mario. Pretty much, this is where, well, back in 1993, when everyone had Super Nintendos or Sega Genesises, the Phoenix Resales of the world, the Game Explains of the world, the Retro Ricks, the Completionists of the world had only a CDI, and they grew up closing doors. Closing doors. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, you can't even be serious. Or you can't even take me serious when I say that. Alright, but it's got, as you see in the back, you just close doors. That's all you do. So this game's pretty shit, but it will cost you like $500-ish. It's a big collector's item, especially because of the YouTube poop legacy, so I would just say skip it, obviously. Unless you're a Mario elitist, but really, even for the Mario elitist, you don't need it. It's not made by Nintendo, so just throw it away like this. Whoop.
Bombs?
Oh, come on.
Bombs?
I'm gonna hurt you. Come on.
Lamp oil. Bombs?
It's okay. I messed your hair up.
Bombs?
Alright. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so now...
Sorry, Link.
This.
I can't
This
give
is one of
credit.
my
Come back when you're a
really good
little
games on Nintendo DS,
richer.
But it's
Rope?
it's pretty much the embodiment of gaming YouTube in a whole as the protagonist, and that's because they are still single at 35. Imagine being still single at 35. Well, I obviously don't have to because I'm accomplished in all facets of life. But a lot of people like Phoenix Resale and Game Explain do, and that would be for the game Tingle's Rosy Ruby Land. This game costs about like $300 because it's the Italian version, but basically it's about a 35-year-old virgin who really doesn't know his way in life. He's broke, he's got like mommy issues, and yeah, it's really not the best game. It speaks a lot to the current day wokies that still at 35 are poor, living off Kamala Harris's welfare, obviously, and Michael Obama's as well. Gross people. But yeah, it's a pretty fun game, pretty good Zelda spin-off. But just be aware you gotta shell out like $300 in your pride to play it. Yeah. I really hope you gaming YouTubers see this and see how trashed you guys are. And how you guys will never pull beautiful women like I do. Okay. So now for the 3DS, last but not least, we have Fire Emblem Fates. Fire Emblem Fates is a horrible Fire Emblem game. Came out in 2016, and it pretty much wokeified Fire Emblem. There's a bunch of lesbians, which obviously we know don't exist in Japan. There's a lot of pedophilia in the game, which obviously doesn't exist in Japan either. So just a lot of American values were implemented into this game. I was very excited because it's a collector's edition, and it added a Revelation side story. So I got it on launch day. I was really excited, and I ended up not even finishing Conquest, actually. I beat Birthright, got to the end of Conquest, and I was done. Okay, it was done. This game is shit. They ruined Fire Emblem, and this is also going in the trash. Good riddance. Okay, though, but with that being said, those are my rarest Nintendo games on each console, and pretty much, now we're gonna go to the Sony PlayStation and the rest. Okay, well, we have Sega too, but next is gonna be PlayStation. Okay, actually no, next is gonna be Sega. I'm gonna do Sega next, alright? Because Sega pretty much is an okay developer, I gotta say. But yeah, so now we're gonna go on to Sega. Alright, everybody, today, or now, we're gonna move on to the Sega portion of our channel. The original groupie console was the Sega Genesis, of course, so for that, along with its reputation for being a ripoff purely on Nintendo, it perhaps is also having ripoff games, okay? So, one of the rip-off games that it has really ripped off The Legend of Zelda, which I did not take kindly when I found out about that. Pretty much, they ripped off The Legend of Zelda. Atlas ripped off The Legend of Zelda. As much as I love Atlas, a spade's a spade, okay? This is Zelda ripoff. This is called Crusader Senti. Pretty much, Crusader Senti, it's gonna cost you a lot. I wouldn't have it unless I wasn't such an Atlas elitist. But pretty much, Crusader Senti costs you like $1,000. It's a pretty rare game. It's not too good either. So I'd say give it a hard pass. Okay, definitely a hard pass. All right, now we got one of the add-ons for Sega Genesis. And that's the Sega CD. And right here we have a pretty good game from Working Designs called Popful Mail. I do have to say on a side note, Popful Mail and I do, we know each other pretty well, I gotta say. She is quite the waifu, but, obviously she doesn't compare to Peach, of course. But she is definitely a waifu, maybe in my top 20. So that's why I really like the game. That's why I have it. And this game also will cost you pretty much about like $800, I'd say. 800 sounds about right. So yeah. Now for the next Sega add-on, okay, we got
Ass! Piss! Piss!
Knuckles Chaotix, and that game is on the 32X. The 32X is really a bad console, actually. It's really bad. It does deserve the slack that it gets. Definitely is a lot worse than the Nintendo Virtual Boy and the Nintendo Wii U, which are not bad consoles, despite what all the IGNs and the Phoenix Resells of the world say. Perhaps it's just a misunderstanding, but yeah, the Sega 2X is a lot worse, so I don't know what the misconception is here. But pretty much, this game costs you like pretty much about $200, just about right. It should cost you about $200, okay? So now we're going on to the next one. Now, the next one was a game made by the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. This is for the Sega Saturn, and it's called Burning Rangers. Now, Burning Rangers might be one of the rarest games in my collection. It's about $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, around that price range. It's a pretty rare game. It's pretty fun too, actually. It's pretty hardcore. It's pretty stylish. All right. Pretty action-packed too. You know. So yeah, I like it. It's a good game. But it's like $12,000 or $1,200. So if you guys are collecting Harris's welfare, you're not gonna be able to get it, okay? You gotta get a job if you want that game, okay? Get a fucking job. Alright. Now for the Sega Dreamcast, we got Project Justice. Project Justice is a sequel to Rival Schools on the PlayStation 1. Another game I own. This game's a pretty good fighting game on the Sega Dreamcast. And should cost you about like $400, I'd say. $400 should be about right. I think. Yeah. Should be about $400. Somewhere around that range, pretty much. Yeah, these Nintendo YouTubers, quite often, they try to downplay the importance of the Sega Genesis and the Sega company and brand, and that is obviously why Sega went out of business, due to all these phony pretending YouTubers that only care about their own personal gain, obviously, of course. Like, the Completionist is one of them. Definitely Retro Rick as well. So on and so forth, okay? Pretty much good game, though, on Dreamcast. But now we're going to go on to the Sega Game Gear, which is the only handheld that Sega ever made, unfortunately. But just a quick disclaimer, I do not have the Master System, and I do not have the Sega Pico. So if you guys comment and say, where's the Sega Master System, and where's the Neo Geo, I'm going to be mad, okay? Be really mad, and you're going to get blocked, because that's really highly disrespectful behavior after I've given you guys this disclaimer. But first game I have on the Game Gear is, of course, Mega Man on the Game Gear. Really not the best game, but it is quite the collector's piece, and obviously any Mega Man Elite needs this in their collection. I'd say pretty much it costs about like $500, I'd say. Pretty much $500, $6. Not too bad, but obviously it could be a little cheaper, especially for the 40 minutes of fun that it really gives you. Okay, so yeah, really that's it for Sega. But that's those are my Sega Genesis games, and they're pretty good, I'd say, most of them, definitely, but could be better. Sega's definitely a console that is really overrated, and that's why they went out of business, but I do think that they should have stayed in business. So yeah, now we will be doing one of the most horrible things to happen into gaming, and they took all of Nintendo's IPs. Sony PlayStation. Okay, so check back with us when we get the Sony PlayStation. Okay guys, this is the third section of the video, and pretty much in this section we're going to be talking about Sony PlayStation games, and the wares they have on each console. But, big disclaimer right here, I do not have a rare game on the PS3 or the PS4. I know I'm a little behind, but those consoles are not good, so they don't make me want to go out there and buy anything good, okay? So don't comment that, where's your PS3 game? Where's your PS4 game? Where's your PS Vita game? This list is not finished. No, I only have the good Sony consoles, okay? So I have PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation Portable. Those are only good Sony consoles, okay? So I don't want to hear it from you guys. I really don't want to hear it, because I'm telling you this now, that they're not going to be in the video, and that's that, okay? Alright, well, without further ado, we're going to go to PS1. This is one of my rarest games I have. It's Persona 1. It was the first Persona game ever released, obviously. And pretty much it's dungeon crawler, it's dating simulator, it's pretty woke as well with the American translation. They actually Kamala Harris the character Mark in the game and made him black, so that wasn't too fun. Definitely not fair to poor Mark, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, it is a complete copy. The manual is on the other side. Complete copy, and obviously for a Mega 10 elitist, it's got to be in your collection. It's the first Persona game. It's got to be in your collection if you consider yourself a Mega 10 fan. So, pretty much costs you about like $600 if you're lucky. You can find a good one. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to PS2. It's quite a creepy game. It's called Haunted Ground, and it costs about like pretty much like $500, I think. It's got a pretty cute waifu in the game too, I think. It's got a really funny creepy guy too. Chase you around named Debilitus. He actually is quite reminiscent of most gaming YouTubers nowadays, I'd say. But pretty much he's a disabled guy that just chases you guys around, or chases the waifu around, and he tries to, you know what. But yeah, it's a pretty good game by Capcom. It's supposed to be a Clock Tower sequel, actually. And yeah, it's rated M for mature, so make sure you're old enough to play this, okay? I wasn't allowed to get this game until I was 17, okay? It says right here, 17 plus. Yeah, just make sure you pass the ESRB rating, okay? But you should be fine. And then now, finally, last but not least, for the PlayStation Portable, this is one of my most cherished games. I did not play this one first. I played the original on PS2. But I met one of my top 5 waifus in this game, and that game would be Persona 3. My waifu would be Yukari. And yeah, Yukari has really been there by my side through a lot of problems that I've had. Her and Peach get along very well too in the whole waifu world. I would agree. They don't have too much trouble sharing me. They understand that I am allowed to have multiple waifus, of course, because I've done the blood, sweat, and tears that really require you to be like a high-value gamer. So yeah, Peach and Yukari pretty much get along pretty well. I'd say so. But yeah. A lot of people say Mitsuru is the prettiest wife in the game, and I don't get it. I don't like gingers. I really don't, okay? So if you guys are gonna comment like Mitsuru is the best waifu, shut up, okay? Shut the fuck up. Because it's not true. It's simply false, and I will protect my lady's honor until the day I die. So you guys can screw off, unsubscribe, and get out of here. You guys are gonna say Mitsuru is the best protagonist, or best waifu, or the female MC is the best waifu. You can't idiot. You guys say Persona 5 did it better. Lady Ann is hotter. No, she's not. Okay, Lady Ann is a fucking slut. So I don't want to hear it. Yukari is where it's at. All right. With that being said, that disclaimer out of the way, now we're gonna go on to. Hold on. Xbox, pretty much. I don't like them because they destroyed Rareware Industries back in 2002, which I'm very furious about. They took Rareware away, but FromSoft did get their start on the Xbox, and that was with the Otogi series, which is actually a pretty good game. It's better than the Soul series for sure. A lot more difficult too. And this is Otogi 2, Mortal Warriors. I'm sorry, I forgot to say, Persona 3 Portable costs like $200, okay? That's the price on that one. This Otogi 2 costs like $150 pretty much. 150, 250, around that ranking. Perhaps it's a little more. I don't know. I don't really know. But yeah, pretty good game. This is where FromSoft got its roots. Unfortunately, it's on the Xbox, my most hated console, because they just ruined Rareware. They ruined them. But now we got. I get a little worked up thinking about Rareware and what they did. I'm not gonna think about it, okay? I'm really not, because it really gets me worked up. It's been for a while now. God bless Rareware's soul. But now, last but not least, we have a rare Mega Man game on Neo Geo Pocket Color. And Neo Geo Pocket Color is a pretty bad handheld, but it does have this good game, and it's called Mega Man and Bass Power Fighters. So pretty much, Mega Man Bass Power Fighters is a really, really rare game on the PS, or on the Neo Geo Pocket. It is pretty much like $700. It's like the rarest game on the console, I think. So it's pretty hard to get it, but they did release this game on the Nintendo eShop for $20, so I would say to get it on there, perhaps, if you may. But yeah, pretty good game on Neo Geo Pocket. On Neo Geo Pocket Color, pretty good game. And yeah, it was a little fun one. I'd say you should get it on the Nintendo Switch for sure. But that's pretty much it, guys. I don't have any other rare games, obviously, than those ones. Well, I do, but they're not on different consoles, of course. I have rare games, obviously, on the PS1 and on the PS2 and the GameCube and stuff like that, but they're not on new consoles, like PS3, PS4, PS Vita, Neo Geo. Those consoles are kind of irrelevant, and unless you're a filthy casual, you really don't enjoy many of those consoles, so that's why I don't have it. I need to keep my priorities straight and collect for what I'm going to collect. But with that being all said, really appreciate you guys coming out to watch the video, okay? But I just gotta say that this is how a real collector does things, okay? This is how someone with morals, someone who's righteous, someone who is dedicated collects, alright? This is not no Barbie glitz and glam 3DS dick sucking bullshit that you see on Phoenix Resale's channel and you see on all these losers channels that I am coming for. Watch out, retro collectors. Watch out, retro gamers. There is a new top dog in town, and his name is the RetroCleric. Hey everybody, I'm pretty sorry. I was told by some of my friends in Discord and some of my fans who know my collection and know what I truly got that I didn't truly show you guys all of my rarest games. For example, I kind of, for Dreamcast I messed up, for Game Boy I messed up, and then I completely skipped PS5. I didn't know I had a rare game on there, but I guess I do. I guess one of them skyrocketed, and I had no idea. So, start off, my rarest game on the Dreamcast would be Ken Spike, right here. Not Project Justice. Ken Spike is an amalgamation of all the Capcom franchises. You can play as Mega Man, Cammy, and Arthur from the Ghost Goblins series. And it's not the best of the games, okay? It's kind of short, it's kind of washed down. It's not that good, but it does cost $500, so I don't think many of you guys are really gonna buy it, and you're not missing much. Okay. Now from the Nintendo Game Boy Advance, I said my rarest game was Boktai. I had no idea that Pocky and Rocky with Becky was so damn rare. And, you know, Pocky and Rocky with Becky is not the best game. It's kind of underwhelming. It's like a remake, reimagining of this Famicom Disk System one, where Famicom Disk System 1 was kind of the worst one in the series. I really liked Pocky and Rocky 1 and 2 on the Super Nintendo, okay? Whereas this one was completely, threw me out of left field, alright? It had 3 characters, but a third of the content. It made no sense. So it was really confusing to see. But this one will run you about like $400, which is a little more than Boktai. But I would just say pass, okay? It's on the Wii U eShop. Can't get it there anymore. I don't know if it's on the Nintendo Switch Online. I don't think it is. But I would just skip on it, okay? Finally, for the final game on the PlayStation 5, I had no idea that this one was rare. And a lot of scalpers really made this as rare as it is. And that would be the re-release of Final Fantasy VII Intergrade on the PS5. And this adds the Yuffie intermission side story. But I don't know why. The physical is just way too expensive. I got it when it first came out, but now it's like $200. It's pretty crazy. Like $200 for a PS5 game. What the hell? 2024. That's just not really normal, considering PS5 came out in 2020. But you can just get this on the PS4, the base game. You could get the intermission story with Yuffie as well on the PS4. So I would just do that, or just buy it digitally. But the physical is not worth $200. This will surely go down. This is surely because some scalpers like Phoenix Resale or somebody, some fucking goober, had to buy all these up, and they're now like selling them for a lot more than they actually are, right? Where it's really not worth that much. But that will call it a day for